Good evening. What's up? Can you hear me, Nick? All right, perfect. Make sure I had my sound set up right. So this is a little cleanup sluice. Kind of works like what we were doing earlier. With these little eyelets here, will capture the little bits of gold, and I already see it adding up right here. Here's that beautiful pan from today. I think I got a message from a buddy of yours, and I didn't catch it until I got home. Hello, Brother Tobias. Hey, we're at a great rate for this live. 2 people watching and 2 likes. I like that. I already see a bunch of gold settling out in this. Hopefully it keeps it pretty tightened down. We'll be rerunning whatever's in here. Has anyone else been out prospecting lately? So those that you can see, we've got some really concentrated black sands, and this is from the digs today. So there's all sorts of fine flower gold in here, and it's really tedious to separate from here. So we're trying to use this little tool here, the cleanup buddy, to hopefully get it concentrated down a lot. If you look right there, there's some gold popping out there. There's all sorts of gold in here. Do you have to go to a river or a specific spot to find anything? It all depends on where you are. So you want to make sure you have either permission, the mineral rights, or whatever. It depends on where you're at. Where are you at? I've prospected all across North America, not as much in Mexico though, so I can't really help you in Mexico, but the United States and Canada, I can give you maybe a little pointer or two. Can you get a free sample? I mean, you can get a free sample from the river if you got a decent spot in your location. So I'm trying to let it clear out and do its thing. I'm sure a little bit is managing to make its way and migrate down. But this is the simplest tool I had to set up at this late night, 11, almost midnight cleanup. But I was too excited from the work I did today. I had a little helper today who was a really good little, like, solid hand. I'm sure I gave him some gold fever. And he gets to keep all this for helping me. Western Washington State. All right, well, you got some options in Western Washington State. You just have to be aware of the Golden Fish pamphlet. That is a requirement in Washington for prospecting. And there's places up near Sultan, Gold Bar, Index. Also, if you go north towards Darrington, Sauk River. You've also got the Nooksack, Skykomish River. So you just want to make sure you're not jumping on claims. And there's actually a lot of really good groups in Washington that you could be a part of to get claim access. Hey, thanks for the sub. All right. I might have to, like, I need the water to be fast enough in this, but I already see a little piece right here at the lower end. But that's not coming in too good, but there's a couple pieces up here. More towards Tacoma to Olympia. Okay. The Snoqualmie, if you go up the, what is that, 400 highway, there's that 400 that runs on the back way towards Snoqualmie Falls. There's actually some areas back up in there that the clubs have for access. As to what's open or what's not, I'm not current on what is open or not. Anywhere near Mount Rainier. Yeah. Now, if you're at one of the state parks or public areas, you can easily take a pan and work a pan there. As to the criteria for sluices and stuff in state parks, each one has its own little kind of set of rules in Washington. Scent Press F. So we're getting a lot of buildup of gold up here. It's actually really nice. There's actually a little piece on the bottom here sitting right in the little roller. Gonna knock that around. And there's still a lot of gold in the pan here. All these little specks are bunches of little flower gold. It's been a while since I got to dig with a new friend, and who was excited about the gold as I was. Usually I'm the excited one and everyone's like, when are we done? Do we get to split it? Yeah, you can pan, but you can't do like high bankers. Sluices are questionable. You can't dig into the rooted area, and it's one of those things that every park has its rules. Here's some bigger gold so you can see some prettier, nice little chunkies. This is what I really like to find. I really like to find this bigger stuff. These are pickers or small nuggets, depends on where you consider that. Here is a pile of some good old flakes here. There we go. These are some nice ones. Nice little pile, gives a little shaky rattle. Now, if I had this as a baby rattle, I'd be happy. Here's one of my favorite little gold nuggets. I call it the sitting duck. I got this from right out by east of Talkeetna, or west of Talkeetna. Get my directions straight. Is it real? All the gold I'm showing here is real. I do have fake, I have fool's gold somewhere here where I do for show and tell. Somewhere. And you really need to organize my garage. I made a mess last winter doing all these cleanups. Aha. This is a big chunk of fool's gold. This is pyrite. That's a big chunk of fool's gold. It has the color, and it'll actually trick you when it's in the water. You'll see these light glimmer, and you'll be like, ooh, is that what I think it is? And it's not. You get it up, and you're like, oh, nope, that cubic structure would have been smashed to bits because gold is very malleable. All right, let's feed this some more. Oh, I see a little pile building up right there. We're just going to keep adding to this, let it clear itself out. Don't want to get too carried away. These black sands are extremely heavy. We worked for not quite an hour in using the Crux Hive Anchor, and we managed to work a good layer of flood gold. This is all from glacier deposits. And gold isn't the only thing I'm into. I do like to find special little other ores. Like, let me get back over here. Where did I set that piece? Well, somewhere. There it is. This is another type of ore. This is galena. This is a mostly lead, but it has silver in it. Has shapes very much like pyrite. And we can get this out of the Talkeetna Mountains. This is one of the ore bodies that they collected for silver and often mishandled, which gave them problems with heavy metal toxicity back when, because they were trying to get gold, which is nearby in this setup of the way this works. In some of the schist deposit rocks, you can get garnets like this. This one was found out near Cantwell, Alaska. Just random there, sitting in the sluice. Garnet is nice and heavy. I had it on a display box for show, so that people are like, oh, cool rock, thanks. I'm like, no, that's mine. So it's got that little sticky to stay in the display. All these random little piles of gold. Almost all the gold has a story. Like, you put it in one from a day of when you were with someone else or whatever it means you were doing that day. This gold, if you've ever watched Gold Rush, the original, way back when Parker Schnabel's grandpa worked on Porcupine Creek. This is from just upstream of Big Nugget Mine on another claim where we were working during Gold Rush Whitewater Season 6. I got a little break of time and was able to do that, and I managed to find these 3 chunkers. There wasn't very much fine gold, but it all worked. So here's the concentrates we're cleaning out. We're trying to make this into a nice little pile of powder, but it's all over in this concentrate. So we're using this little tool to build up the pile and clean it out. Periodically I need to stop and let it clear out so it doesn't bombard the catches. How profitable is this? Well, it depends. Some days you have really good days and you end up doing a lot better. Sometimes you just do it for fun. Now I'm one of the crazy ones that does it. Look at that. See that leading edge of that iron? All those flecks of gold. This is all, like, let me get right here with the light just right. There's all sorts of gold concentrate amongst this iron, tin, all this different sandy stuff. So some days you do pretty well. Today, for what we were digging as a team, we did really well. Hello, IROC. And welcome, everyone. I see the count of viewership has grown. If you have any questions about prospecting in your areas and I can give you a hand or point you in the right direction to seek more information, let me know. I've panned for gold in 49 states, and I found gold in all except 2 of them, Hawaii and Florida. Hello, Pamela Thomas, Courtney Patton. I appreciate everyone being here tonight. I'll have to pull the phone off. We'll do a little closer examination of this here in just a bit, but we're going to keep adding our concentrates to this. Vermont. Vermont. So there's the river that separates New Hampshire and Vermont there. What's that in town that's right off the interstate that crosses the state line? It's 70 something, so there's a bridge. The interstate crosses over, and under the interstate is a public right of way. And right down there, I got a little bit of gold just like this. Traverse City, you're talking about Michigan? I have been through Traverse City. And in certain parts of Lake Michigan, if you just go a little bit west of Traverse City, Michigan, you can get the you can get black sands like this on the shores and work it with a pan. There's a guy online that goes by Great Lake Concentrates. He does a lot of that. And then south of Traverse City, towards the bottom of the lower peninsula, you can get near Athens. There's a campground there. We're just scooping material. There's a campground there where you can actually You don't create gold? Yeah, no. We find it. Smelt it down and turn it into gold bars. Yep, that's what we could do here. You use a device called a crucible. Which, here's a fresh crucible. And right there's a bag of flux. I'm going to be breaking in this to make more little melted buttons to do a gold bar with. I've got my furnace over here, but I've got to coat it, line it, and get it prepared for that. No, actually, yeah, gold isn't magnetic. You can use which I should have, this stuff was wet, so I would need to dry it out. But I actually have a tool, and I think I've shown it on my stuff here. This, you see those black sands are stuck there. This is the dry electromagnet separator. So magnets inside of this start to whirl around. And it'll actually pull the magnetics to one side and discharge here and let your gold set here. But I was too excited, so I'm letting this tool do it. Hey, thank you for that. That metal cup, pretty sure you pour. Yep, that's where you pour it out of. So you run that metal cup, you put the flux. This is known as Chapman flux, which is great for the black sand concentrates. How much have you made in cash? Well, I haven't sold gold for a lot of years, so. But I have a decent bit from my travels and times. I wish I would have gotten more when I was on Gold Rush Whitewater, but yeah, we got diddly squat. It's sad to say, diddly squat and gold on a gold mining show, but that's what happens. That's what happens when tensions get high, people get too proud of themselves, all the number of things. Plus all the editing, what they wanted us to do that we didn't do. And so some of you got here later than others. Little mini showing here. That is a nice little big nugget. You can see the coarse texture of it right here. This is where it was hosted inside of the quartz crystals. And those eventually fractured away and left behind. Oh, it suggested a poll question, which has nothing to do with gold. So, but yeah, this is a nice little nugget. This nugget was on Gold Rush Whitewater, where Dakota Fred, actually dropped the nugget, and this was the one they showed on the Drop Nugget episode. Here's a little pile of the medium flakes. All the ones in here are a lot smaller than these. These are like maybe partial match head size pieces. No, we did not get paid SAG. We were not part of that. Here's an Arizona amethyst. It's nothing. It's got all sorts of fractures and stuff, but it's really cool. Nope. There was no... I make more in a week welding than any episode on the show. I wish it was the case, but nope. I'm going to get this zoomed right in here. There we go. A little closer. Yep. There we go. I had to knock that little pebble out. Did they fake a lot of the stuff on the show? So we had no scripts. There was no like, oh, you know, pre-planned, do this. Like, we had plans for the day. So we'd talk our day out. Okay, we're going to focus on this. We're going to try and make the hole bigger, whatever. A lot of days were the same old, same boring. They didn't even show up in the episodes. Maybe a clip here or there. But there's a lot of editing. Like, things that happened were like, I was like, that didn't happen. I didn't say that then. That was another day. What the heck? So a lot of editing was involved in that. Oh, no residuals. Nope. Nothing further from it besides to say I was on the show. Do you have a diamond? No. I have garnets. I have a ruby from North Carolina. It's not like a super, you know, it's a weird kind of hexal, but it's considered a ruby based on the Mohs scale of hardness. So, this is from North Carolina. I used to have a diamond, but it really wasn't anything impressive because basically it could be used in a saw and that's about it. Like, it's an industrial kind of ugly diamond. The pretty ones are from other places. Wash it. Wash what? So you can see in this pan we still got, I'm just trying to scoop a majority. If this stuff stays in here, I don't need to run it through. I can clean that up all nice. So we're just scooping up these black sands, little pebbles, to get ourselves a nice concentrate. And I will need to run what flows by again as well. Oh, the ruby. I mean, there's no washing it. Those are fractures. I'll get it wet to show you visually. Those are all scarred fractures. I wish it was a really nice piece or could be made into something better, but it's so fractured you couldn't even facet it. You can see there's still some of the mineral from where it came out of the... Oh. Here's the other one that broke off of it. But they're pretty. That's about it. Intrinsic value, not much. But I like pretty rocks. Do you guys like pretty rocks? True gold digger. Yeah. I definitely dig for gold. Oh, look at that. See? Let me see if I can... I think I gotta play with the zoom. It's all tiny, so it's like little powdery gold. Deep sea mining? No. I've dove deep, but that was in like big rivers and big channels, primarily in California and Oregon. Oh, nice. But I wouldn't mind if I could get the opportunity. I wouldn't mind to try it out, be in the, because I know how to dive. I've dove many times under supplied air. Now, that's what gives the separation of those cruises. The supplied air is where it's ran from a pump and runs down to where you're working. And then there's self-contained, which is scuba diving. So you have SCBA, which is self-contained breathing apparatus, which is your carried air. Firefighters use it a lot with their tanks. And then we have supplied air, sometimes called the hookah system. And we're getting pretty close. I'm gonna just gently drip the water on there, try and wash some of those down. A little teaspoon at a time, just letting those black sands roll. Trying to keep as much of that gold powder in the pan. Oh, wow. Thank you for that great one. Paranormal in the tunnels. Was that true? What tunnels are you talking about? You're talking about the coyote holes in the south? Like the desert? Or are you talking about something else? I've been in Eastern Oregon, near Baker City, towards the town of Sumter, and it was eerie. Like, you never know if you're going to discover the old things of a former gold miner. Like, you dig for the fun, but then you're like, ugh. Like, how many people might have succumbed to the harsh environment? A combination, Theo. So yesterday and today. Today we ran a high banker on the river and actually worked quite a bit more. And I had a little helper with me today who was a great hand. Helped me avoid using my arm because I'm still recovering from my bicep rupture. So we added a lot more to it today. Oh, I forgot if Parker did it. I know he for sure did the stream mining. You should, bro. You only live one. Well, so I was on Gold Rush Whitewater where we dive in the water. We have our air supply, do all that. Yeah, so I was gonna go live, but having a younger one with me helping out, he's gonna get all this gold today. He was a great help, so I'm just doing. We were trying to do it on site, but you can see. Maybe if I get this way, I'm trying not to block the light. Maybe if I move the light from the glare, you can see that little pile of gold there. Maybe if I shut off the pump. Yeah, you can see all sorts of. This is going to be a really nice cleanup. All right, let's get it. Let's put it back in the pan. You see all the black sands that have gone down here. So we've got a nice little pile here. This should look really good in the pan now. Nice. Yeah, the Umpqua's great. The last time I was at the Umpqua was last October. I love to travel all around and prospect, especially in my old stomping area. So we're going to move this back. We're going to get this pan submerged here. Get that under there. I need to get a little tool here. So I got to pop this bottom up. And that gives that little slide tray. Oh, there's still some black sands up there we're going to have to deal with. So I'm just gently pull this mat out. It's as easy as that. And then drop it down here. We're still going to have some black sands. I want to inspect these. Oh yeah, there's still some sticking in there. We're going to get to the good part now. Right there. A little flake is stuck in there. Try and slap it around a little. All right, that's pretty well clean. I'm going to bump the pump because I've got some residual black sands up here, which I know is going to have some of the gold where I was feeding it. So I'm going to bump the pump and have it come back on for a brief bit. We'll deal with that in the pan. All right, and that's pretty good. I'm going to move that to the back here. Awesome. I've been sharing the lives and stuff on here. I've just been it's been easier just to not deal with the editing, but I do need to edit my content. Okay. Now let me dry my fingers off so the screen doesn't overreact. So I'm just tapping the pan here. I'll come back out so you can see. Kind of like the magician pulling the rug under the stuff. I just tap at the right rhythm and find that frequency, and the heavier items will all walk to the top. What is it? This is gold. You see a solid line of fine gold lining the top there. Let's get here. You see all that little fine powder. This is what I talk about when I say, you know, if you've seen me in lives before when I'm in the field and I show you these pans and they have like 10 to 20 colors, they're not much, but they add up. Thank you, Flavors of the Forest. Where'd you find that gold? Outside of Palmer, Alaska, on a glacial fed river. So I'm just, you see all these little specks are migrating and walking up to join their family up here. I'm trying to work them into the corner here. I got a little trail coming off over here. The more I tap and clean it up, it's fine gold. It's very fine gold. This is the kind of gold that makes Flower Gold Wizard and Glacial Gold Hunter excited. Now, I told Glacial Gold Hunter he needs to come to Alaska so I could show him some glacial gold. So if you guys are in the gold mining community and you follow those guys, tell Lucas he needs to come to Alaska so I can get him some of this and he can see it. Yeah, you got to know or test and find out. Yeah, that's a beautiful little, they call it a smile when you hold it this way. There's still a bunch of black sand in there, and you can see right here, there's still gold on the leading edge. So it's really adding up. And I'm sure with a little bit more time and the high banker, which I was running the high banker today, which helped, which is the Crux high banker, very affordable small high banker, because I can't carry anything heavy. I injured my bicep and ruptured it, so that's why I've been focused on the small gold, because to get the bigger gold, you usually have to move big rocks, and I'm limited on my weight my weight lifting and stuff. So one arm moving boulders isn't quite as good. So yeah. So let me back this out a little bit here. I'm just kind of trying to work. I lean it a little bit to this side so the black sands walk away. That leaves this trail of gold to walk up to the pile. Then I shift it the other way. Oops, I got some floating gold. Hang on a moment. Let's break that surface tension. I'm going to put it in the big. That was much. Okay. It only takes a little bit of that non-suds and stuff to get it. How do you know the rock has gold inside, though? Depends on the rock you're looking at. Like this is a galena silver ore host rock. It's kind of hard to show, but right here has a bit of the galena host. This is often a mineralized ore line here, where the contact zones are for lode deposits. This is where this stuff gets crushed from the glaciers. So it starts in the mountains like this. The glacier runs over and pulverizes it, rolls it, and smooths out the rocks, releasing little bits of flour gold like that. Hello, Cindy. So I don't think this one had any visual gold in it. I have a rock somewhere that does actually have some visual, like you could see it gold in it. I think this was just a cool one that I wanted to see if it does, but I don't see it. I know it has the galena. Right here's a silver ore. It's kind of hard to, might see how it reflects a little different when I lean it at that angle. The galena ore is like, where I just had it. Where did I set that? I keep misplacing my stuff. Organization. It's not my strong suit. There it is. This is a true galena. This is a true galena, mostly lead with some silver ore. See how that reflects like that? The host rock here has a little bit of this dispersed in it. You can get to the good concentrate veins. And this stuff you need to be careful with, especially when you're using like rock hammers on it and stuff to break it free, because it does release lead dust. So you got to wear your mask. Let's see here. I will disclose, I did not find this. I just thought it was so cool I had to buy it. This is a cube of pyrite from Spain. This is like essentially what's on in the fool's gold. Like this one, you can see kind of right here how that forms. This is like a more true, pure form of that cube crystal there, but it's so shiny. Like I could, if I wipe this off, maybe I can. Oh, it's just shining the light back. But this is, I had to get this. This was just so neat to see. Oh, there we are. There, I'm looking at you. It's really faded, but hey. All right. So I have what's called a, oh, is it clean though? Shoot. Where's my other one? So I got tired one night. This is a textured pan called the Falcon pan, which is excellent for finishing off these this fine flour gold. Oh, you've watched every episode? Nice. I was on season 6. I was introduced to episode 3. I was too, let's say, real and just focused on the mining and doing things the way I know how to do them right. And it wasn't as entertaining. I wasn't shown as much apparently, so. But I was there. Shoot, I'm like looking for something to show, and I find these little pickers. Put that back over here. Keep track. Oh, yeah. So this was when I was trying to separate my garnets from Washington. Oh, and there's a piece of gold laying right in the middle there, of course. It's a problem when you go to do cleanups and you have all this gold sitting everywhere and you're like, oh, I need to clean this up. I need to clean that up. And you don't. And you're disorganized like me, which is my own fault, but bunch of pretty little garnets. Hello, Moraxi. Girl Dad cooking up delicious. Oh, nice. That's a cool name. What do you cook up? I could use some crawfish. I haven't had any good crawfish in a while. All right. I'm going to put these garnets in this little tub. Now I got a pretty little tub of garnets. Yep, garnets can be gold thieves. There's a couple really nice gemmy looking ones in there, but they're so tiny you can't do diddly squat with them. They're just pretty. All right. So this pan has, you might be able to see how it looks like a matte color. It has a texture to it, pre-done. Now we season pans to use them, which is why this one is working as it is. But this one has that texture to it, and it acts like a Miller table and the gold sticks to it. Oh, geez. Someone stole your... So we're just going to switch this out here. I should have sucked up the gold I already had cleaned, but... Look at that tail pile of gold. Get this back here. Just going to pan into this one. Probably have a nice clean pile when I'm done. And then I can finish off the rest of them. I've had people adopt, as they like to say, adopt my stuff. Like, I just don't like when people take things without asking. I'm usually pretty generous. Like this gold is going to the kid that helped me today. So I was on a live and he asked if he could come out. I said, yeah, message me on another platform and we'll work something out. And I met him, I crossed paths with him at the site before. And he was like, are you a YouTuber? And I'm like, yep, I am. Yeah. All right. We have a nice little clean pile right there. So I'm going to, let's get some of it separate right now. We're going to put it in one of these nice clean display vials. And we have what's called a pipette, which is an excellent way to pull that up. I'm going to get myself positioned here, zoom in on the process. All my snuffers are dirty and used, and if I snuffer this up, it's going to be a complete mess. All right, here we go. Now it's in here. We're going to transfer it. Now it's in there. It isn't a lot. But boy, was it fun today. Yeah, I'm going to try and get... You do that same thing with your nose. Get all the powder up. I know what you mean. I could sometimes use that instead of coffee. But I got to be clean for work. Can't use that extra caffeine-ish kick. All right, we're getting the rest of this back down here. Just doing a side to side. You see that line's building back up. All the strays that they're still like right there and there. There's still strays sticking on the pan. That's how gold works. It just sticks. And our goal is to have a really nice clean. So now I'm just going to roll those black sands slightly away. Some gold might go with it, but that's the name of the game. Time and patience. All right, so I've rolled most of that black sand away. I'm going to use the pipette and push this all into one spot. I know it's tiny gold. It's not the fun of the nuggets, but all gold is good gold. There we go. And right up there. Just gonna use my finger to tap it, let it settle out. That pan is pretty much done. And we have a nice little pile of the powdered gold in there. Not much yet. Now there's more in here. There's definitely, I mean, you can see it lining up right there. You see the gold lined up there. So this is only the start. This is only the start. This is what was residual focus, what was residual from the band. But it's definitely pretty. So I'm gonna put that pipette back there. Maybe move my pan this way, get a little bit out action. So this pan has a unique sticky factor, kind of like hobby mat. Pickers. Someone say pickers? We've got pickers. That's my favorite kind of picker. Baby nugget. This is 1/10 of an ounce. It's like 3.1 grams. Make sure I put that back in the right spot. All right, now dry my hand off. I'll get you on that corner up there. You'll notice how this gold likes to stick in the pan there. So I'm just kind of spreading it out thin, and I do a little side-to-side motion. It's hard to tell in the contrast, but all that is clean and right there. Yeah, the worse the more you find. So now I'm gonna, same thing here, I'm gonna tap the pan gently with a rhythm, find the happy spot with the tilt and angle, and try and get it all to walk to the one side. And it's starting to work. All that flowery stuff. This pan's contrast is limiting the, let me see if I can get the angle a little better. So it fuzzes out if I zoom in too much. So right all in here, all that's free gold, and we've managed to knock it away from the black sands. I'm just going to keep washing these black sands down. I'll have to work them again, but for now, I'm just using the pipette to give a little nudge to all the clean gold. Now, I usually do this in the winter. I usually save this for my I mean, it's still light outside. I could still be digging. But the kid worked hard for this today. Rode his bike all the way from a ways away, which I was impressed. I used to do that in the 90s. Now it seems like parents don't let kids ride their bikes away from their home anymore. So we're getting that in a nice clean line. There we go. North Fork, Sacramento, whatever, tons of, oh yeah. So could you? At today's prices, probably. But all it takes is one fluctuation and then gold drops and now you're struggling I'm going to try and get some of those black sands out of there, get this more clean. So I'm just gently, barely washing those black sands away. Some of the gold will migrate with it, but that's okay. Now we got a nice clean line right there. I think there's one or two little pieces of black sand in there, which could be actually tungsten or because tungsten's native to that area. So I'm going to push. All right, stay focused. I have a passion for mining. So I love, oops, I goofed up. I had it up in the thing and then I looked at the chat and squeezed wrong. It's okay. That's why we're doing it in the safety of a pan and not in the river. It's always best to take your concentrates home and work them later. Because one of the things we don't always have is the time to mine. So if you do, like, say, I know people that live in places where there's not much gold, they might get this in a year in Kansas, not in an hour and a half like in Alaska. And they need to prioritize or organize their time so that they can be working these concentrates at home in a simple concrete mixing tub like I am with simple little tools. All right, we'll do another sweep. I got a good little bit in there. I'm like holding my breath trying to be steady, and then I have to take a deep breath back because all shaky. Gold's exciting. We're going to add that to this little pile here. Down goes the little gold, the happy little gold. Oh, yeah. Now, I remember when I was younger, I loved mining. And everyone's like, you're just wasting your time. All the gold's been found already, or if it's any good, you're not making any money doing it. It's like the valuation of it's nice, but I don't do it for that reason. I do it for the thrill of the hunt, the finding it. I'm going to get this pushed in a little pile. All right. Excuse me. A hiccup. And there it is. There are faster ways to clean this gold and better things that require more money or more space. There's more of the clean. And we've added to our little pile. Hey, where did my pinky go? Now I'm going to set the pipette back here, put the cap back on here, set this to the side, and we're going to do another round of separation. I'm going to use my palm here. Let me get this zoom back out here. Yep, that's definitely the truth. And then I know from the show, the drop in gold prices led all the dredge operation. So gold got up to quite a bit. What was it? It like hit 1900, and everyone. And this was like 20. When was it? 2012 or 2011, and everyone was gung ho. We're gonna make it in gold, and then as soon as it dropped to 1,000, they realized, oh man, we lost 40% of what we were expecting to get, and they really struggled. Oh yeah, these black sands are a mixture of all sorts of heavy mineral elements. There's probably some platinum in this, but it's so coarse and like coarse for platinum. The way it's not big, but the texture and rolliness of it just lets it travel. I'll show you here. There we go. Get a little zoomed in on that. Now focus. There we go. We're just doing another roll back and tap. Watch that one. See, as I tap the right rhythm, how that little piece of gold is migrating up. Now it's on the edge, on the corner. I'm going to do a little more roll back of the fines. And you can see, yeah, there's still quite a bit in here. That's why I like doing it with this pan, because it just sticks. The Falcon Gold pan is like one of the best to get clean, pure gold. Well, clean, pure pieces of gold, as this gold probably has silver content to it and it's not 24 karat. All right, now I'm just gonna use my pipette to push it all into the corner here. I could use a snuffer bottle, but pipette's more fun and entertaining. And it's a little quieter. Lets me talk like Bob Ross at night while I play with happy little flakes of gold. There we go. Hello there, Yell and Decavine. All right, this little happy gold wants to go back to the rest of its family that I've been trapped into a vial. Stay focused, you darn thing. It's trying to focus on the reflection. Stay on that little gold. Now I made him. I spilled it all. Darn focus. All these smartphones, and they can't focus on the one thing that's different from everything else and wants to go off the reflection of the water to the ceiling. How does it do that? Right on there, Justin. Have a good night. I love the name. That's my name as well. And yeah, it's so you must be West Coast. It's 12:46 here in Alaska. Late nights with Justin the Panner. All right, let's suck this gold. Oh, there's still a little. There we go. Get that little bit out of there. All right. Push this back together. How do you get the gold separate? You could dry it. Leave it open and let it dry. All right. One more clean thing here. Tacoma. That's right. That's right. Because you were talking about Rainier earlier. Definitely West Coast. We've added a little more to our pile in there. Whoops. Silly me. The camera's over here. All right. Cap it for safety. So our pile is growing in there. It's not a lot, but it's good quality. In that same place, I found more gold before, so it all adds up. It all adds up. Okay, so we still have some residual right there, which I just rolled these black sands away. You see looks like a starry, if it was in the dark pan, I call it starry night. So we're gonna tap, tap, tap. Yeah, you just let it dry out. Sometimes you'll put it back in a pan and let it spread out. So like the pan I was using earlier, this top half is already dried. The water here is still, and there's still gold in there. Minor problems. Get this. I'm gonna try and get these pebbles out that are rolling around like disturbances. Bad glass, thin gold. Talking about the vial. Yeah, this is thin. This is thin, tiny stuff. This is flood gold. It's traveled a long way from the source and has been pulverized and made really tiny and really flat. So it likes, if you get too aggressive with it, you'll pan it right out. Without a even keel, it'll so I'm just tapping up here to get that to settle in these sands. Trying to, and I spread it out flat. I kind of give it a little quiver shake, another tap, little quiver shake, another little tap. Now I got two right there, two decent, probably the bigger flakes starting to come up here. I got one right there that I've walked up. We're just going to start doing a little roll action. I could do this faster, but I enjoy this. I love every surprise of every little flake. Hello, Epic. Epic's what I'll call you. You almost got me. Stretch. I'll relax the arm. Let's get back to this. Not quite forcing a yawn yet, but we're getting close. Kind of just flick and thin that end out so then I can separate those. Sometimes the gold likes to ride the thick portions of black sand, kind of like a snowboarder. Best way I can describe it. So we've just freed up those ones. You can watch as I make them walk. All right. Time for the pipette. Will you pin out the residual in the tub? Yeah. I always, I have a problem. I'm like, oh, there could be more gold in there. And if there's a better capture, So I'm just pushing this all to the corner so I can get it to work some more. Now we're going to wash those little bits away. Just gentle rolls. Has anyone else been out prospecting lately? We've got a couple really heavy black minerals like that one. I bet that's a... Hello, Rachel. Welcome. Probably closer to the afternoon for you because it's got to be like 11 something or 12 something for you in the afternoon. Maybe almost 1. Well, if we go by, because the international dateline, the 180th, is just west of me. So if you're in the UK, you're on the 180 or the 0, the prime. So Trev, the 10 a.m. Okay. So panning at a river to get your concentrates is actually fairly easy. It's the last part that's tough. It's this, the heavy mineralized. We even ran this through a concentrator to get it as clean as we could. And now this is the toughest gold to get clean. Flower Gold Wizard has a really good separation tool that he has. We're going to suck this little pile up. Now it's in here. We're going to go back to our little vial. And add some more. It's a little at a time. It's like snowflakes. They add up. Get a little stretch. What's funny, Tiger Bites, is on Gold Rush, Whitewater, Bering Sea Gold, some of those people can't pan worth diddle. Like, I'm keeping this PG here. They can't pan worth anything. Like, you watch them. Brian Wilder on Bering Sea Gold is actually really good. James was okay. He still had a bit to learn, but he didn't think he did, so he didn't want to listen to Kayla and I. Parker can definitely pan. His grandpa taught him well, but he's one of those, if he sees it, he knows he'll get it with equipment, and he doesn't have to bother with it much longer. He doesn't need to see the tiny little bitty bits like we're doing here. But when you have entire pans full of gold and you have to carry them around in hydro flasks, I don't think you're worrying about this little tiny stuff. You're like, oh, that comes with the game, right? So I'm gonna put this under here and try to pan this down gently. Oh, nearly 10 a.m. Okay. So I'm just taking my time. I'm shaking this back and forth to give it time for stratification for the gold to get to the very bottom, or the heaviest minerals along with it. And then we're going to gently roll these bigger rocks off. Bigger for the pan. Resettle it back. I know this is taking a while. Thanks for sticking around if you like seeing this. I don't usually do this in the summer, so this is usually my cabin fever. It's frozen outside. All my water is in solid form of ice. Hello, Buckmaster. D Hall. As soon as I see gold show on the top or I see a flake go on there, I bring it right back. Oh, I see some right there. Bring it back, settle it again. my phone says it's getting hot. So it's trying to control. Whoops, kick the bucket. It's trying to control the charging for the temperature. YouTube's making it hot. I better get this over with. So I'm trying to reduce the total amount of black sand, so I just watch that leading edge. And as soon as I see some gold show up in the black sands, I bring it back again. And then after I shake those down, do it again. The less black sand we can have in here, the more productive our little pipette and separation will be. You never wanted to say faster before. I know. But I'm just enjoying myself. Separating the gold, the little helper friend and I got today. All right, that's a lot better. We might be getting towards the end. So, right, there's one of the bigger flakes for this fine stuff. So I can actually just like give it a little persuasion. Oops, sorry, I'm blocking it. I'm too busy focused. Now I got it up here. Yeah, we're getting to the end. There's like randos in here. It's not quite as rich as it was. I already have upside, which when I get my camper van, which will allow me more traveling, so traveling and prospecting, doing road trips and meeting people from all across the country is the goal, and helping them find their own gold. We're gonna be pushing that a little bit more because it really is helpful if it makes sense. I've got a camper van that I already paid for the Sprinter, and I've got a builder. He's getting ready to take care of business and build out the van to be off-road capable. We're gonna have it's gonna be fun. I'll get to hang around at different mine places. I'm gonna be hitting California in the beginning part of it. Hopefully get to borrow a detector and get to enjoy a little bit of finding gold. I don't care if I keep anything, but it'd be fun to actually find something decent with a detector. So you can see we're still separating some of those here. After this, I might just have to call it a night and then work on getting more of this tomorrow. Maybe. Oh, that reminds me, I got to put my battery on the charger. How much have you saved on gas so far? I did actually cash out some. My wife uses it more because she has more options when she travels in the lower 48. Alaska, we don't really have too many options besides the Circle K's former holidays. Sometimes it makes sense, the discount plus the price. Other times it doesn't, so you just skip it. Get the cheaper one. Here's our little line. I'll get closer here for you. I'm trying to persuade this little buddy to join his family so he doesn't get left behind. Are you originally from Alaska? I'm originally from Oregon. I came up here to Alaska in 2006. Donated a finger to it. And loved it ever since. If I need to get a break from Alaska, I can always fly. Well, almost always. We did have a shutdown of flights during the Redoubt eruption and the 7.1 earthquake in 2018, November 30th. All right. I think this is going to be the last little pipette suck up. We've got just a few little stragglers of gold there. All right. I'm going to just pan this quick into here. I'm going to do a rough because I'll have to work more of this later. And eventually I'll have to run it on a miller table or something. There's still a little. I think we did a pretty good job. Only the flattest of the flat ones are still here. That one right there is a really flat piece. Super tiny and not worth the time, but we're going to get this one picked up. If you were to take gold at a milligram, it's like 14 cents a milligram. No, it's probably like 13 now with the recent price drop. But yeah, it's like 13 cents a milligram. Which, why am I using milligram? Because it's the smallest official weight I can use, even though it's metric. Yeah, there was a lot more color earlier. If you were here earlier in the live, you would see a lot more. I've got a little thing stuck right there. Trying to get it to migrate itself down. All right. Let me set this pipette back over here. Cap this for safety because I'm clumsy. I'm going to take these black sands down into here. We'll do a little pour and reveal. I might let it sit and dry. Who knows? Yeah, screw it. I could take more time doing that. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, ask them before it's time to go. I've been nicknamed the preacher at the Church of Mining because I love to spread the word of the gold in the river. Nature at its finest, all the enjoyments. And now, so the vial's empty. I'm going to set that right there. And there's still a little bit of black sand, but you see all that little, like, it's enough to move around. Someone asked how, I had a rock fall on it. So there was a tiny little earthquake. Sorry, I mentioned about giving away the finger to the state. Yeah, a little earthquake shook a rock off of a rock wall, a big one, a boulder, and it fell down and landed on my hand. Crushed 3 of my fingers and completely crushed one to where it was unsavable. 21 kilogram nugget. Oh, that'd be so fun to just discover and find. Hoffmans are from Oregon. Yep, I grew up by the Hoffmans. Used to play, my friends and I thought we were going to be disc golf champions. And Jack came over, and I don't know if he was being serious or funny. It was really hard to tell. Jack Hoffman, Todd's dad. He goes, you might be careful. You might hit an airplane. It's like, if I hit an airplane, then I've got quite the drive throw. You're from Ohio. So AW, if you in Ohio, just north of Cincinnati, there's actually an Ohio Prospectors group. They're kind of GPA based, but they've sort of gone independent, and they have different gold claims. And just north of Cincinnati, they have a claim called the Double D claim. I'm not sure why it's called that, but there's definitely gold just north of Cincinnati. And then along the Indiana border, you can go across to Cottonwood Trails Camp, and they have prospecting there. All right. I'm trying to catch up on the chat. I've been so like focused on this tiny flower gold that my eyes are like adjusting from the bright blue sky of the pan. Yeah, there's definitely still more like like I didn't even do that good a job because if you look right here below in my panning tub, see that gold? There's still gold in there. So it means I'm going to have to clean all this up again. I'm going to have to process all this. Actually, hey, maybe I can suck that up. Hey. That tells me the recovery of that unit was not the best, which I was kind of thinking it might be a little bit. Is there any place? There, I just pulled that back out, but I don't want it to get mixed with my clean gold, so I need to suck up the clean gold first. Is there any place people who have handicaps could go pan? Depends on where you are. There are some areas where it's relatively flat and you can drive to, but a lot of those places have been worked over. And so, depending on where you're at, so like where I went today would be borderline. I go out there because there's no like tremendous hill climbs or boulders to go around because I had surgery on my bicep and I can't let my bicep get injured again. I'm still in the recovery phase. So, but there's places like Lost in Bar in Oregon. I did a video on that. You can literally drive right down to it and you could work right there. You could bring your own little tub or something and pan into it. New Mexico. New Mexico definitely has gold. I just haven't worked New Mexico that much. I've mostly, in New Mexico, I worked a little bit on the Santa Fe River, but it was clear then. I went through Santa Fe last August in 25, and the river was so red and muddy you couldn't even like it was so red and muddy from like a mountain thunderstorm or whatever, and it was just like it was more like flowing mud, even worse than the glacial brown water we have in Alaska. Nope, just we used a little high banker today and shoveled into it little by little. We actually only worked about an hour and did that. Yeah, exactly. It was hard in New Mexico to see that in the river there. I got a little bit once I found a clear water stream further away from wherever that red mud was flowing from, Taos or whatever that is up north of it. So I'm just, oops. Yeah. I was sluicing yesterday. I was using a Geo sluice and it caught some pretty good stuff. Today was a little high banker dig, which the kid was helping me with because I have limited carrying capacity. Now we got that. We're going to put that back into the vial here. Sorry. Camera's over here, silly. Just caress that, get that in there. Oh yeah, got to put the load into the vial. Whoops, stay in there. Making a mess. All right. Cap it for safety. Put it back over here. Let's push this stuff around and get it all cleaned up. I sucked some up from the trough. I'm going to have to rework all of this again, but that's in due time. Oh my goodness. Get in that corner. So I'm trying to get it right to the edge of that rim. I appreciate that. I have some other educational videos. I've traveled. I went to Colorado last year, did some prospecting up there. I lost the footage for my Cache Creek. I don't know what I did with half the footage, and then my day was cut short by the 100-mile mountain bike race, the Leadville 100. And so that one's kind of short, but it's to the point and shows it. Oh, you can't use a battery one. Yeah. I think in Victoria has some areas you can. I know, I don't know if it's Reedy Creek or whatever. You can use a regular sluice if there's enough water. I haven't been to Australia in 20 something years. No, 25 years. I went detecting in the Western Australia. That was a heck of a time. It was fun. Until I found out that the government was doing eminent domain on the facility, the building I was leasing, and the owner was going to get a fat check. I tried to negotiate cause for reimbursement, but because I was leasing, they said, you have no ownership or interest in this building, let alone my business was functioning out of it. I have no interest in the property because my business is there. So they took the building by eminent domain to make a park and ride. And the owner got a fat check and I got an eviction. And that's how my trip to Australia metal detecting ended. I had to fly back early, take a weird connecting flight through, like, I had to fly from Perth to Melbourne, up to Singapore, and then from Singapore to Hawaii to Seattle to Portland. It was a crazy, chaotic flight to get there a few days earlier. Last minute and lots of money. Whoops. There we go. All right. Cap it for safety. Now we got our original pile back in the vial. It looks so good under the vial because it kind of gives it a little clarity and magnification, which the camera can pick up. All those little flakes. They're itty bitty little flakes. I mean, look how big my fingers are compared to it. Little fine sand gold. But when you put it to the side, it does make a little pile in the corner. So, pretty little pile in the corner. There's still more cleanup to do and finishing parts, but there's all this in here. But I'm gonna have to go through all this again and reset up the concentrator, clean up the stuff in the tub and get that up and recapture that gold. It'd be really nice to have this pile of gold instead. You can see the difference in size and quantity. Here's a legit pile of gold. Do you snipe for gold in Alaska? Is it too cold? No, I've sniped before. It depends on kind of what the outdoor temp is. Will I snipe in the winter? Probably not. I'd take a really good wetsuit or something, but technically the water is warmer than the ambient outside temp, because water, when it's in liquid form, barely goes below freezing, if it does, only because it's moving. So a 28-degree water, because of motion, is still warmer than 20 below. So let me see if I have, some of you might not have seen these earlier. These are the garnets I had to clean out of the pan. They're too small to do anything worthy, but here's some of the actual pickers. These are nice little chunks. I have them separated, so super fine gold goes in one. This is a kind of a medium fine coarse gold. This is the bigger, really coarse gold. In the summer is is it warm in Alaska? Depends on who you ask. So like today was 65 and I was sweating, but we had a really nice breeze going. So that was good for me. Here's another one of some various flakes and pieces. I actually took these two to do a little panning giveaway with a group of kids, and they were like, I don't want to do this. I'm like, all right, I'll keep my gold thing. You don't understand. Okay. No big deal. Oh, shoot. Snuffer bottles. More snuffer bottles. I'm getting to it. I'm getting to it. I'm going to show you. Here are some of the other coarse little nuggy pieces. That's a nice thick flake. You can still see the rust on the side of it from when it was pulled out of there. This one was a nice one. Kind of, you can see it's kind of rolled, of course. And watch this. Listen. It just snap. It's so heavy. So, how much did your setup cost me roughly? Oh yeah, you can snipe year round. Purity, Alaska is not one of the. Oh, Purity. Now that you say that, here's a good thing. Let me get into this drawer down here. Alaska typically has about like 85% purity for gold, which would equate. But this, oh. Look at this. You see, this is gold from Georgia. In Georgia, like Australia, has, I mean, it's hard to really tell in the contrast, but I'll bring it up close. This is gold from Georgia, and it has really high purity, like 98%, darn near like 24 karat gold. Georgia's one of the elusive places, and this was brought to me by a visitor from Georgia, Fit Father, who was coming up here and it's like, I think you need some Georgia gold. And I hadn't been to Georgia in 25 years. And so you can tell by that contrast, this is like 85. Probably has some silver, some copper. You can see the manganese staining on the side. And this one, the sitting duck, as I call it, depends on which side you sit. This was a bedrock piece, just kind of flat, smashed between the little rocks and stuff. And this was from Hope, Alaska, back when gold was $400 an ounce. And we did a tourist thing, and the guy's like, I don't know if I could do this anymore if gold keeps going up in price. 400 is expensive. I wonder what he's saying now. But this has never left this vial. This is the first gold in Alaska I got in Hope in 2006. And it's remained in here ever since for my story. Good morning, Mega Silver Stacker. I just had a good day. Got a prospect with a young, aspiring gold fever kid who gets this gold from our day here. It's not a lot, but it's a lot of fine gold. We're using the Falcon pan to get it fine down, and there's still some good fine little tiny flakes in here. I was just showing off some of my other collection. Some of my finds, my other pickers, stuff I've accumulated over the years. So it's about 1:30 in the morning, and I was going to call it a night so I can get rested and dig some more gold tomorrow. And maybe tomorrow I'll run the magnetic separator and I got to figure out a better cleanup method than that, because I used the Gold Buddy over here. The the cleanup buddy, and it did a so-so job. I don't know if it was something I did or something. I don't know. It just wasn't too great. It did okay though. And my phone's at 25% now, and it's warning me battery hot. Oh yeah, my phone is roasting. So, everyone here, thank you for being here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd appreciate it if you did. Until next time, may your pans be golden, and you have a good morning, day, or night. Whatever it is, wherever you are. Thanks for being here.